Yes, good evening, good day, everyone. Uh, Usual, we are going to delve into our session as usual. So, welcome everyone. Today we are going to delve into if statements. So, at the end of the lesson, we will understand the following. You will understand the conditional test to check uh, our condition of interest, what we want to check. Then we will understand how to write simple if statement, and we will create a series or chain of if statements to identify specific conditions. Then we will apply conditional logic to list. Then we write some follows so that we can handle most items in a list one way, but treat specific items differently. So this is what we are going to cover today. So we are going to start with a simple example as usual. So the example we are going to start is just a list. We all know about list. So supposing we have a list called cars, as you see, the cars has about 4 different items in it. So assuming that you have been assigned a task to print all the items in the list. So how do you do it? So this is the list, uh, and we can visualize it like this. So let's say we have this list, which we have Audi, BMW, and the rest. So to iterate through the loop, what we usually do is, through the list, what we usually do is we write four, as we have seen before. So we write this four, then we have a variable, then we have the keyword in, then we have this iterable. So if we want to print something of interest, so we have to put conditional if. So we have to write if, then we write the condition, then we perform some operation if our condition is true. So suppose we write this for car in cars. So this will take uh, items from list of cars here, list of items here in this, and put it one by one here. Then we use print under this, then it will print all the cars. But we may be interested in a particular car. So we have to write uh, a condition. When the condition is warrant, then we can print that. So our task here is we are to print all the items in the list. But, so you see this but you must print the car BMW all in caps when encountered. So we will encounter each item in the list, but our interest here is on this item BMW. We want to print BMW in caps, while the rest shall be printed in title case. So our interest is BMW. So how do we accomplish that? So we write if statement. So because we know that we are going to encounter all the items in cars, so we check because the items are taken one by one. So the first item, when we encounter the first item, we check. Is the first item, so the first item is in this variable car. So if what is in car is equals to BMW, then we make it uppercase. We understand. If the first item or if the item in car is BMW, then we make it car. Otherwise, we make it title. So we make it title case if it's not BMW. This is what happens here. So if the first item is not BMW, then it will go to this else part and print title case for that item. Then it will go to the next. If it is close to BMW, it will make it uppercase. Otherwise, if it is not, it will go here. So this is what this means. If this condition is true, then we execute this statement. Otherwise, if the condition is false, then we execute this condition. This is how we are going to achieve this task. So let's see the code in action. So this is our list. Okay, someone wants to ask questions or?
Okay.
So we have list of cars here. Then here we have our for loop. As usual, this contains all of these items. Then it will be taken one by one. So first, we need to indent, because whenever we have for loop, we need to indent. So we indent here. Then we check, is the item, because we know that this car is temporary variable, so it will just take one item at a time and put it. Then we check that item which resides here. Then we check if it is BMW. If the condition is true, this is the condition here. This is the condition. So if this condition is true, it is true what is in car is BMW, is equals to BMW, then we make it alpha. Otherwise, if it is not, we make it title case. So it will go one by one. So let's run and see. Okay, I already run it. So you see the first item is Audi. That's why we have its title case, because this condition is not true. Therefore, we have to go this. Then we go to the next item, which the condition is true for the second item in our list. That's why we have BMW in capital. So let's go to the conditional test. So the conditional test is just like this one. This is the conditional test. So from the syntax, we have if, then we have conditional test. I think we have it somewhere. Oh, I didn't write it. So conditional test. Let's go to the conditional test. So at the heart of every if statement, whenever we have if statement, is an expression. That's why we say statement. In logic, in your mathematics, we know statement. So statement evaluates to true or false. If you write something that does not evaluate to true or false, it is not a statement. For example, it is raining now. So this is conditional statement because I say it is raining. So it is either true or false. It is true that it is raining now, or it is false that it is raining now. So we have to understand this. So it must be a statement, and statement always evaluates true or false. So then we have Python uses values true and false to decide whether the code in an if statement should be executed. And again, if conditional test evaluates to true, the Python executes the code following the if statement, like this. If this is true, then it will execute any statement indented under the if. So you can have number of statements here. It mustn't be 1. It can be 2, 3, 4, 9, 15, up to n. Likewise, the else. As long as it is indented here, then you can have up to n number of statements. Then if the test evaluates to false, then Python ignores the code following the if statement, like what we have seen. So if what is in car here is not equals to BMW, then Python ignores this code under if, then it will go to the else part of the if statement. That's the meaning of this. So we can check equality, check for equality. So most conditional tests compare the current value, like of a variable to a specific value of interest. Like here, we check what is in car, because car here check number of items here. So the current value, when this starts running, maybe the first element, then it will go to the next, then it will go to the next, then it will go to the next. So it will check for the current value of interest. Then the simple conditional test check whether the value of a variable is equal to the value of interest. That's the simplest thing you can do. Just you check if the current value, like this, is equals to some value here. So can you mute yourself, please? Someone is making noise. So I mute all. So you see, now the current value in the variable car is BMW. Then we can check whether the current value here is equals to BMW. That's why we have what we call variable. Variable contains different values. As you run your program, then the variable can take many values. It can take BMW, then next it can take another value, then next it can take another value. That's why we call it variable. So someone wants to ask question?
My little good day, sir. My little confusion is that
Yes.
supposed to be to print only BMW, not all other my. So how come it has print all the variables?
Yes, because we use for loop. The for loop iterates through all the items in cars here. It will iterate. If you are just interested in printing this, then you can delete this part. This will just print BMW. So it will iterate, though the code is not optimal, but
Thanks,
it will just
I get
go.
it.
You get it? Okay.
I get it.
So it's as simple as ABC. It will just iterate through all the items in the list. So let's go to the next. Now we have the same variable but contain different items, Audi. Then here we check, is what in car the same as what we can see here, BMW? If it is, then we can have true. If it is not, then we have false. So when you run this, we have false, because now the current items or the current value in the variable car is not the same as BMW. And remember, we use equality operator, not assignment operator. Because here we are just saying Gabagadi, what is in car is equal to BMW. But you know that it is not true. That's why we say false. It is just like saying what is in your pocket now. We all have pockets now. As we listen to this lecture, we all have pockets. So let me make an assumption. What is in your pocket now is 1,000 naira. So this condition is either true or false. So it's just like this. Muhammad Hamza, do you have question? I see your hand raised. Okay. So
Hello.
okay, now let's go to ignoring case when checking for equality. We know that some programming languages are case sensitive while others are not. So Python is case sensitive. That's why when we have variables like car and cars or car like this are treated differently. They are not the same because this one is all lowercase while this one is uh, sentence case. So they are different. So sometimes when you are working with text, you may want to uh, ignore the case sometimes because you may ask users to impute their names. You know that we have different manners. Some can write quick, some are very careful when writing their names. So assuming you ask people to write their names, someone can write Abdullahi like this. Maybe your name is Abdullahi. Someone can write it like this. While others may write it like this. Someone may write it like this. Especially in social media, this is what you will see. Someone can even miss it. He can write something like this. So how do we ignore? Because all of this, if someone is asked to read this name, we say this is Abdullahi. This is Abdullahi. Sorry. This is Abdullahi and this is Abdullahi. So you may write a program to ask, is the name Abdullahi? Maybe you are checking for maybe to assign some tax to someone. Maybe the someone you are looking for is Abdullahi. So you want to check is the variable name what is contained in the variable name is Abdullahi. Then you can ignore the case here. So testing for equality is case sensitive in Python because Python, as I told you, Python is case sensitive. So car with lower case and car with capital C are treated differently. For example, two variables with different capitalization are not considered equal, as we said. So we have a function called lower. We are already familiar with lower and alpha. So the lower method does not change. So it does not change the value here. It does not change the value that was originally stored in car. So if you have a value stored in car variable, so when you use lower, it doesn't change. It doesn't actually change the value in that, but it will display. It will just behave like it changed the value. But when you go to the original value, you will see that it is not changed permanently. So look at this. Here we have a variable, car, then we assign value to it. Then here we have an operation that we ask Python to lower the value stored in car. So the value stored in car is this. Then here we ask, can you please lower the case of the value stored in car variable? Then Python will definitely do that because the syntax is correct. Then we check, when you do that, can you equate it to this? Are they equal to this when you do this operation? Is it equals to our D like this? Then when we run this, it will tell us that it is true because when it lowers all the case, whether it is already lowercase, it just attempt to make it lower. So it will lower this A to small letter A, then it will definitely become this. So when we want to see this, maybe we can write it here. Let's say we write car dot lower like this. So when we run this, look at what we have. So they are the same with this one. So when you use a print function, then you will not see this quotation. So now let's print the original value and see, because we applied this function to what we have in the variable car here. So let's see what is installed in the car. Now you see, we applied the function twice. We applied it here. Then we reapply it here. Now we check what is stored in the variable car. But look at the value, which means this function doesn't actually change the value stored in a variable applied to it. That's the point here. So let's see, do we have questions before we proceed?
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the condition you're applying, can you scroll back, at least go up small? Yes, this condition.
Yes.
Print car. When you ask it, then you put this is equals to, then you put Audi. Are you the one who put this Audi in small letter for it to give us this output as true? Because already you asked it to make it lower, and you also write it lower. What is the logic behind that, sir?
Yes, the logic is we want to check for equality. What this means is you are just asking, please computer, when we lower what is stored in car, is it equals to Audi? If it is true, then it will say that it is true. If it is false, assuming that you don't know what is stored here, always assume that you don't know what is stored in the car. Okay. But now you want to check, is what is stored in the variable car when we lower it, is it equals to Audi? If it is true, it will tell you true. If it is not, it will tell you false. Understood?
Understand. Yes, sir.
Any other question? Right. Now, when we check for equality, we can also check for inequality as well. So we all know the operators. So for checking equality, we use double equals to. Then for inequality, we use this exclamation mark with assignment operator at the same time. So there is an extension that will allow you to use the operators we use in mathematics. I used to use it before, so you can install it so that it will give you not equals to as greater than or equals to as you see in mathematics. So because we don't have it in the keyboard, the greater than equals to, less than equals to, not equals to, that we used to in mathematics, we don't have it on our keyboard. So we have to use the combination of two or more operations so that operators, so that we can have our operators achieved. So checking for inequality. So when you want to check for inequality, maybe you have two values that are not equals. So you can use the inequality operator, this. Then let's use another if statement to determine how to use the inequality operator. So for this example, we are going to store a requested pizza toppings in a variable and then print a message if the person did not order and copies. So this is the example. So we have a variable called requested toppings. Then we check if the requested topping is not equal to this, then we print this message. Now we have the variable and now we have some value stored in the variable. So always when we have this before if, just assume you don't know what is stored in this. But now you want to check what is stored in this. Assume that this is hidden from you. Now we want to check, is what is stored in this variable not equals to this? So if this condition is true, if is actually this statement is true, that what is taught here is not equals to this, that is true. If the statement is true, then we print this message. So when we run this, this is what we have. Do we understand this logic? Because the use of this can disturb some, can make confusion to some. For the equality, we check, we use double equal, but for inequality, we use this. So if this condition, if it is true that this, what is taught in this is not equal to this, if it is true that the condition holds true, then we print this. So we don't always compare string, or we check for equality for strings only. We can also check equality for numerical values. So testing for numerical values is straightforward. The following code checks whether a person is 18 years old. So look at it here. We have a variable age, we declare the variable age, then we assign value 18 to it. Remember the operator we use here, this is assignment operator. So we are saying, please, can you Python, can you assign this, can you put this number 18 to this, just like, can you store 18 on this variable? Can you find a space in the memory of the computer in the RAM and store, name it age and store this value to it? Then here we check, is what is held in this equals to 18? If it is true, then we return true. If it is not, then we return false. So let's run this. So now we see true. What if we change this? If we change it to 19, it will definitely tell us false, because we stored 19, so we can't get 18 here because 19 is stored here. So 19 is not equals to 18. So it is true that 19 is not equals to 18 in mathematics. This is what we are going to say. It is true that 19 is not equals to 18. So we can also apply if statement with numerical values here. Remember, we have a variable here, and we assign 17 to it. Then we check, is what is stored in answer not equals to 42? If it is not equals to 42, then it will print the statement. If it is equals to, then maybe you will see nothing. So let's run this and see. So now you see what we have. Oh, let me change this because I don't want to interfere with this. So here we have true. So look at what we have. That is not the correct answer. Please try again. Maybe you can, for some of you, someone can create a game to guess a number. Maybe I have a variable. When we come to accepting input from the user, we can maybe create a game here during the class so that we can ask a user to guess a number. So I have a variable like this answer stored somewhere hidden from the user. Now I ask the user to impute a number. So now I can compare what the user has imputed here with what I have already. So if they are the same, then I can display that you win. Otherwise, I can display or print, please try again. So this is just like that. So we say if what is stored in this is not equals to this, then if it is not equals to that, then if the condition is true, then we print this. So what if we change this to 42? What will be the answer? Can anyone guess the answer?
Yes, sir.
So what will
It
be
will
the
not-
answer
it-
for this?
The answer, it will not print this message.
It will not print the if statement.
Okay, let's see. So
So
we see
because
we
it-
don't have anything. So we don't have anything. So because we don't have else part, so that's why we don't have any message. So let's look at this. Here we have sequence of print statement. We have variable age and we assign 18. Here we check. Is what is stored in age less than 21? If it is true, then it will print true for this one. Then we have this one again. If it is true, then it will print true. Then we have this. Is what is stored in age greater than 21? If it is true, then it will print true. Then we have this. Is it greater than or equals to 21? Then it will print true or false, if depending on the what is stored in the age here. So when we run, this is what we have, because it is true that 19 is less than 21 and 19 is less than or equals to 21. 19 is greater than 21, which is false. So if I say it is false that 19 is greater than 21, it is false that 19 is greater than or equals to 21. So what may
So I have a
confuse
question.
some, yes.
So why is it that for the second question, age is less than or equal to 21, it printed true, when 19 is not equal to 21? And then for the last question, for the last command, it says greater than or equal to 21. Here too, 19 is not equal to 21, but it printed false.
Yes, this has to deal with Boolean laws. We have a basic logic statement. So for basic, we have and, then we have or, and we have not. So if we are using or, I think I have something similar to that. Yes, I have it here. So this is the Boolean law from George Boole. If you are used to it in mathematics, we know that when we have a statement here and we have another statement, if this statement is true, it happens that statement X is true, statement Y is true. When we use and, we in mathematics we say ANDed. When we ANDed this and this, then it will be true. Which means when we apply AND, this and this. But here you will not see AND or O. But when you read the statement, you will hear the sound of O here. We say age is less than O. You see, O equals to. So here we have two statements. It is either age is less than 21 or age is equals to 21. So here we use O, but you can't see O here. But so if this is true and this is true, then we have true. If this is true and this is false, we also have true as well. As long as we have one true with O, then we are satisfied. So true is very humble.
Okay.
As long as if we have number of statements, imagine we have 100 statements. So, and we have O in between the statements. So we have statement 1, O, statement 2, O, statement 3, dot, 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 up to statement N. So if one of the statement is true, then it will give us true. Because we know that 19 is less than 21. So which is true, then it will give us true. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, I understand,
So
sir.
that's why we have true here. That's so if you are used to basic Boolean law, then you will understand this as quick as possible. It is as simple as ABC. So let's move on. Sometimes in real life, we can check for multiple conditions. When we go to the hospital, the physicians ask you when we go to make complaint to consult our doctor or physician. They ask many questions. Most of the questions are even annoyed. So they ask, do you have this? Do you have diarrhea? Do you have fever? Do you have this? Then in their brain, then they check what's the condition, what's the symptom of this disease, what's the symptom of this. So if this condition is true and this condition is true and this condition is true, then it's I suspect this kind of disease. If this condition is warranted, this condition holds, then and this condition is false, then I suspect this. So we can have multiple conditions in Python. So to check for multiple conditions, we can use and, or, and many other things. So we can just combine them. So to check whether two conditions, so imagine we have just two conditions are both true simultaneously. So we have this condition and we have another condition which are both true. So we use the keyword and. Imagine we want them both, we want both the condition to be true before we can perform some action. So we can use and to combine the two conditional tests. So if each test passes, then the overall expression evaluates to true because we use and from this law. So because this can only be true when both the conditions are true. You see, we have this statement X is true, statement Y is true. So we can only, so true and is true when both the conditions are true and false otherwise. You see, for O is false if both the statement are false and true otherwise, you see. So let's see the first example. Here we have age 0, here we have age 1. So age 0, we have 22 assigned to it. Then for age 1, we have 18 assigned to it. So now we check. Is what is stored in age 0 greater than or equals to 21? Remember, we have O inherent in this, but if you want to avoid misunderstanding, so you can use bracket and put it here. And put bracket here. When you have your and here, it will still work that way. So we have this statement on one part, the left hand side, then we have another statement on the right hand side. So treat this one as a statement because this evaluates to true or false. Then we have another statement here that evaluates to true or false. So now we check this part greater than or equals to 21 and this part is greater than 21. So you take this as just we are concatenating the statements. So both of the statements must be true if so both of the statements must be true to have true as our output here. So let's see. So we have false. Why do we have false? Because this one is 22, so this one is just like 22. Is 22 greater than or equals to 21? We know that 22 is greater than 21. It's true that 22 is greater than 21. So this will evaluate to true. So let's run and see. Let's run it individually. So when we run this, what do we have? So we see we have true. So let's run this. See what we have. So the second part is false because 18 is not greater than 21 and the 18 is not equals to 21. That's why this one is false. So true and false is equals to false. Look at this. So true and false is equals to false. That's why we have false. So we have another check here. We have age equals to age 1 equals to 22. Then we check this because we reassign value to age 1 here. So we reassign value. Previously it was 18. Now we reassign another value 22. So we know that 22 is greater than 21. So if one of the condition here, one of the operators here satisfied the statement, then we are good to go. So when we run this, so we get true because this part is true and this part is true as well. Then to improve readability, if you want to your code to be as readable as possible, so you can use bracket as we use it in mathematics. That's why bracket has higher precedence. So here Python also has precedence, but for readability, because this one has higher precedence than and, that's why this statement are executed first before executing this and this. So to avoid misunderstanding, then you can use brackets so that you can have more readable code. So when you run this, we also get true as this one. So any question before we proceed again?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Umar.
Yes, sir. Sir, if we have multiple statement, how can we deal with it? Like if we are going to grade a student like 70 to 100, 60 to something like that, how can we deal with this? Thank you.
Yes, it's very, very simple. We use if else. We are going to say it. I think we have that as quiz because every week we have some kind of quiz. We will see it in the lesson as we
Okay,
go.
sir.
So yes.
Then imagine if we have this in h0 is equal h0 is equal to 22, h1 is equal to 18, and we have another one h2 is equal to 16. Are we going to put and or we are just going to put
Yes, you are
comma?
going to under it. Yes, if you want all the condition to be true, then you are going to under it. But you may have
Okay.
this condition to be true, and the other one may be optional. So you can use O on the other part. So maybe
Okay.
if this condition is true, or this condition is true, you understand? Maybe you have this.
Yes.
So imagine you have, if this condition is true, or this condition is true, so you can use this. But if you
Okay.
want all the conditions to be true, you have to use and. So you have to and it
Okay.
all
All of
your
them.
statement.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
using O. Okay, yes.
Sir, I have a question here.
Yes.
My question is, since you made mention of this, does that mean for H0, we are running O statement for it separately, and also for the other H1, we are running it separately, and then we concatenate it with AND, so that if both of them are true, then the output will be true?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, I understand, sir.
So this is a statement on itself. Then here we have another statement on itself. So here we use and. So if this statement evaluates to true and this one evaluates to true, then we have true. Otherwise, we have false because we use and. So for ANDed to be true, both the condition must be true. Otherwise, it will be false. Unlike O, for O to be false, both the statement must be false. Otherwise, it's true. So checking for multiple conditions, these are the multiple conditions. So with O, you can just replace and with O. So when you run this, so this is, we have true. Although this one is 22 and 22 is greater than 21, so this one is true. But this one is false, but still we have true because we are using O here. So when we run this, let's run the statement one by one. See? Run the first one. Look at the result. So let's run the second one. And this is the result. So the first one is true, while the second one is false. But because we are using O, that's why we have true. So when you delve into data science, you will understand what is called SQL. So in the SQL statement, you have where statement where you write your conditions. So you can use O there, and this O is very important, as you can do it to hack into this O. Very, very important. You can hack someone else's login page with O. Yeah, but maybe when you go along, you understand that. So these tables summarizes the Boolean law with and O. So when you see we have all of these are false, but if the first statement and second statement are true, then we get true. Otherwise, we get false. And this one, all are true, but we can get false only if the first statement and second statement are false. We get false. So it's very easy. Now, what is the best website in the world? Is it relevant? I think it's not relevant. So checking whether a value is a list. Maybe you have a list that contains question. Maybe you have a list. Can you mute yourself? So checking whether a value is in a list. Maybe you have a list of things, but maybe the number of items in the list are too many. So instead of going one by one and checking, maybe you can use follow to print and look at it. No, you don't have that time. Maybe you have millions of items in your list. So you can use, you can check whether that value you are looking for is actually in the list. Maybe it is not, so you don't need to bother yourself. Maybe you have a list of attendance stored in a list. So you can check. Maybe for every day you have for Monday, you have a list for that. For Tuesday, you have a list for that. Maybe you have, then you can check. Is Muhammad is in the list? If it is, then you will see true. Otherwise, it will return false. So let's see the first example here. So the first example here says we have a list with these items. My internet is installed. So we have this, we stored this item. Now we check with confidence. Mushroom is in the list, then it will display true. Otherwise, it will display false. So because we have mushrooms here, then that's why we have true here. So when we run it, this is what we have. So imagine we are looking for something else like this. Pepperoni then is not in my list. If you look at the list, because we have very few items in the list. So because it is not in the list, that's why this return false. So this is also very useful. Sometimes maybe you can have list of users you can check. Maybe for recharge card. Let's take a recharge card example. Maybe you want to top on your mobile phone with some money, and we usually use PIN numbers. So when you maybe type star, some numbers, star, PIN hash, it can check. It can go to the list of maybe but because the pins are stored in a table, it can be maybe, let's assume that the pins are stored in a list. Then it will check, is that pin in the list of pins we have? If it is, then it will proceed and maybe load the airtime to you. Otherwise, it will say that this pin does not exist. Then if we see false, then it means that the pin does not exist. So you can apply this in real life. That's why when we have this, when we understand all of these small things, we can just concatenate it. We can add it and order it so that we can have a complex program that will make difference in our life. So every code you see in the world, maybe even if it is operation system, this assignment operator variables and these operations that makes that idea big. So we can check whether value is not in the list. So here we have a list. Then we have this user. Then here we have this not in. Remember the previous one we use in. So here we are just negating. Remember we have this basic operation. That's why I say that we have three basic operators, logical operators. We have and, we have o. Here is and, is not. So we have three. If you are from engineering background, you know this already, because you have what they call logic gates. When logic gates, we have this and or and not as basic. So if user is not in ban users, then we print this statement. So if not, then it will not print the statement. So if this condition is true, then it will print this. Otherwise, just go and do something else. So Boolean expression. So Boolean expressions, a Boolean expression is either true or false, as we have already known. Then Boolean values provide an efficient way to track the state of a program or a particular condition that is important in your program. Boolean values are often used to keep track of certain conditions, such as whether a game is running or whether the user can edit certain content on a website. So like this. So you can have a user, you can have a variable called is admin, like this is admin. So if the value is false, for example, so you can't add other users or you can't edit this content. So you can have is admin. If it is true, then you can edit, you can update, you can delete, you can add users, you can perform many operations on the website. So you can have this. So maybe when you have a table called users in your database, so you can add this as features or characteristics of that person. So look at this. Here we assign this value. So this is of type Boolean. Yes, we use type to check this. Type Boolean. So we assign this to true and we assign this to false. So this one can edit. So it's false. So the user cannot edit. So this one is game active. So the game is active. So maybe the screen will not dim because the game is active. So some program run this way. When you have an Android program that when the program is active, then the screen will not dim. So maybe you have this in your behind the scene. So we have another example here. So we have this variable cars, then we check if the car equals to this, if they are Subaru. So if they is true, then we have this. So when we run, this is what we have. Let's run it. So we have true because if the car equals to Subaru, if it is, then we have true. If it is not, then we have false. Very easy. So let's go back to if statement. Here we are just using a flow chart. Some of you are familiar with flow chart. So flow chart is nothing if you are not familiar with flow chart. The flow chart is just a way of writing algorithms. So if you have some task that you want to achieve for something else, maybe you have a task that you want to write code to solve that particular program. So you can either use a flowchart or you can use pseudocode. So this one is a pseudocode. Pseudo means like. So this one is just like code, as you can see. While this one is the visual representation of the program. So the syntax for it is first, just here is just a segment of the flowchart, how the program work. So here we have something before we truncated part of it, then we check for condition. So if this condition is true, then we perform this action. So maybe you have a set of statement here when the condition is true. So it's just like we have the indentation here. This is part of the indentation because when the condition is true, so then this is under the if, under this if. So we represent if using this diamond, we call it a diamond symbol. So if we have if, so we have our condition. So we have, that's why we have two arrows draining out of the diamond, because when we have conditional statement, so the statement is either true or false. So it is either true or false. So here, I forgot to write false here. So here, if the condition is true, then it will follow here. If the condition is false, it will follow here. So this is for simple if statement. Simple if statement. So this is just like the replica of this diagram. So we have if conditional test. So this is our conditional test. So if the conditional test is true, then we have code inside if body. So this is if body here. When we indent here, anything that is part of this indentation is if body. Anything outside it is outside the if body. Like this code is outside the if body. So just like this one. Body. So understood? Any question on this? So let's see. So here we have an age. So this age has been declared this. Yes?
So that means even for if condition, then surely indentation matters.
Yes, indentation matters. We said it. When you have if, anywhere you see this dot, there must be indentation. Whenever you see this. So if you use we say that there are 3 programming constructs. We have sequence. So for sequence, we don't have anything like this because the program comes sequentially, it just runs sequentially from this statement and this. But if we have selection, so we can have this. So when we have selection, then there must be indentation. Then we have looping, there must be indentation because when we have selection, we use this dot, this colon. So in front of all of any statement you see with this colon, so the next statement must be indented. So
Okay.
there are other way of writing if statement in one line. We call it condensed if. We will see it, but maybe later, I don't know. So there is a way that you can write if without this. This as we even saw it when we were talking about this. I forgot. So we will see how to write if without this in one line. So here we have age. So we assign 1928. Then we check if this condition is true. Then we write this. So the condition is you are old enough to vote. Maybe you write a program that checks the age of the users if they are eligible for voting. So if you you ask the user to impute his age or date of birth. Maybe when you impute the date of birth, you perform some calculation behind the scene, then you get the age from that date of birth, then you check. Is the age greater than or equals to 18? Because a user is eligible for voting if his age or her age is greater than or equals to 18. So if it is true that the age is greater than or equals to 18, then he is eligible to vote. So that's why you are old enough to vote. Then we have another statement here. But what's the point here is we have this. So this is part of the if body, this statement, because look at the indentation. We have this colon. That's why the next statement comes indented. Then this one is not part of the if body. So it will just print this one based on this condition. But this one, whether this condition is true or not, it will just print this statement. So when you run this, that's why we have this. So the code outside if statement will be printed regardless of this condition. Whether this condition is true or false, it will just print this statement because it is outside the if body. So you can have multiple statement under the if body like this one. So if the condition is true, you can print this, you can print this, you can perform calculations under this. As long as you indent, then it's part of the if body. So when you run this,
You are just playing with this chair. You're intentionally doing it.
so we have if and else. Sometimes we can have if and we can have else. So if this condition is true, do this. Else, if the condition is not true, then do this. So this is for if else. So we have this condition. We have this segment of the flowchart. So there are some variables that is declared before this arrow, then it runs like this. Then we check the condition. Is the conditional test true? If it is true, we follow this way. If it is false, we follow this way. So the same things applies to this. So we have the conditional test here. So if the condition is true, we do this. If the condition is false, we do this. But this code is executed regardless of whether the condition is true or false. That's the point. Whether this condition is true or false, this code will still run executed. So look at this one. So we have age equals to 17 is age greater than or equals to 18. Is it true? So 17 is not greater than 18, and 17 is not equals to 18. So which means the condition is false. So it will not print this. It will just go and print this one, the else part. So when we run this, you see, sorry, you are too young to vote. You see, because the condition is false. 17 is not greater than 18, and 17 is not equals to 18. So the if, elif, else check. So you can have too many ifs. You can check multiple number of conditions. So instead of checking if this, do this, if this, do this, if this, do this, you can chain your if statements. You can chain it. How do we chain it? This is how to chain it. If you have a variable, then you can check is what is stored in age less than 40. If it is true, you do this. If it is false, you check another condition. So you use elif. So elif, age is less than 18. If it's true, then you do this. If it's false, you go and execute this. This is how it works as ABC. Let's look at this code. So here we have age equals to 12. Then we check is 12 less than 4. Is 12 less than 4? It's false, yes? 12 is not less than 4. So this one will not be executed. So now we have elif here. Is age less than 18? Is 12 less than 18? It's true. Then it will print this one. Then it will skip this one. So one of the condition is executed. The rest will be neglected. So when we run this, this is what we have. Your admission cost is $25.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a sir, is it
Yes.
because we are running three statements that we use elif? Because I could remember that in the last examples we discussed, we only use else instead of elif. So is it because we are running three statements here, print dash, and print dash?
No. Here we have two conditions. That's why we have two statements here. We are checking
Okay.
for if age is less than 4. Here we are checking, just like another if here, is you are still asking, is age less than 18? But here, when you use L, it means otherwise anything. I don't care, whatever. I don't have any other condition. I just have only these two conditions. But whatever it is, just like the grading system, someone asks, is it greater than 70? Is it greater than 65? Is it greater than 45? But you can say maybe from 40, is it greater than 40? If it's greater than 40, it's E. But you could, for the rest, because you don't care whether it is 38, 39, 25, 0, 2, then you can just say else, false. Whatever is, maybe it is just under 40, just else. It's just else. You don't have any other condition. So it's just like
Okay.
that.
So that
Yes.
means if, for
It's
example, we have a pool of numbers, then we can just use else instead of like mentioning each condition for each number.
Yes, just like the example we see, as long as you are greater than, your age is greater than or equals to 18, then you can vote. We don't care whether
Okay.
your age is 90, whether it's 110. If it is just below, if it's not greater than or equals to 18, it means that it is below 18. Then you are not eligible. We don't need to check whether it is 17, 16. So that's why in that example we use else. So else, so you don't care, whatever. So you just have these two conditions. If they are true, then you do this. Otherwise, regardless of whatever it is, whatever age it is, just print admission cost is $40. So we have another condition like this. We have this, then we have this. So here we have price. So here, instead of using printing, using print function, here we are performing some operations. So we are processing something here. So instead of we see the price here. So instead of printing this statement here, we have this statement here, we have this statement. We are wasting our time writing this code, lengthy code. Why can't we write it with one print statement here? So regardless of the condition here, this will still print it. So here, when the condition is true, we just, what you are interested is the price. So price is 0. This one, price is 25. Whatever it is, if it is not this among these conditions, then it will just assign 40. So when we run, still we have this. So you see the same. Look at this code. And look at this one. So this one we optimize our code instead of writing bulky text. So we have this, and we still have the same output. So you can use multiple elif statement just like this. So you can have, if you have multiple conditions, so here you have 3 conditions as you can see. So check this for this condition, we check for this condition, and we check for this condition. But apart from this condition, whatever it is, just assign 20 to 8. So that's why we have 20 here. So you can omit else statement. Sometimes you don't need to put it if you don't have any other else. So you can just you don't need to put it, just like this one, else this one. So you can, so like this one. So we don't have else. I think from the first example we didn't have, we just have if, then our test condition, then nothing else. So let's test the multiple conditions. So here we have multiple conditions. So look at this. So we have this list, then we have mushrooms, then here we use in to check whether mushroom is in this list. If it is, then we adding mushroom. So here we have this. If it is in, then we add it. So just like you have a menu or you have food ready. So if someone comes to buy it, then you check if you have the food ready here, then you check if it is ready. If the food requested by the customer is ready, then you add it. Then purchase. So when we run this, this is what we have because it is in this mushroom is in the list. So we add it. So that's why we have this. So adding extra cheese. So look at this cheese. So if this extra cheese in requested topping, you see it, it is in. So we add it. But this one is not in. So that's why we didn't have it. So this one is not part of the if body. So that's why, regardless of all of this condition, this one will still be printed. That's why we have it printed here. Then we have another one here. So when we run it, so this is what we have. Mushroom, because say mushroom is in topping, then we have it. Then finish making fixer because this one is not in the list. Extra cheese in this, so it's in the list here. Yes, I think it's in the list. So this one will be printed as well. So we have this very short quiz, so we can grade this. We can use we can write code for this. Imagine you are given this to write. Can you grade student score in a particular test according to the following criteria? So this is the criteria. When the scores from 70 to 100, then the grade later is A. From 69 is B, etc. So you can use using if statement. So you can attempt this maybe later because the time has already gone. I just want to rush to finish. So you can use a if statement with list. So for example, we have list here. We have 3 items in the list. Then here we have 4, which means we are iterating through the list. So here we are printing what is stored in this variable. So here it's not part of the for loop because it is outside. So it will just keep popping or iterating through this. Just print this one, to print this one, it print this one. So that's why we have this adding. Then the variable stood, the value stood in this variable. Then it will go to the next and fetch this one and store it in the variable. Then print it. Then it will go to the next and fetch it, put it here, then we print it here. So that's the logic here. Then here we ask, what if the fixer runs out of green paper? And if statement inside the for loop can handle this situation appropriately. So look at this. We have the list here. Then we have this for. Here we are still iterating through this. We are taking items one by one and store it here. Then check if the requested topping. So we have the requested toppings here. If it is equal to green fefe, then we print this. Otherwise, if it is not equal to this, then we print this. So when we run this, this is what we have. Then we can sometimes, instead of wasting our time looking for the needle in the bush, we can check whether our list is not empty first. So checking that a list is not empty, as an example, let's check whether the list of requested toppings is empty before building the fixer. So how do you do that? If the list is empty, we will prompt the user and make sure that they want a plain fixer. If the list is not empty, we will build the fixer just as we did in the previous example. So look at it. Here is how to declare empty list. As you can see, we have this square bracket, closing and opening square bracket with nothing in between. It means that we have empty list. Now we check. Look at this condition. If requested toppings. So we don't need to say if requested topping is equals to empty, or we use another function is empty. So we don't need to do that. So we just put if this. It means that if this returns true, it means that it is not empty. But if this returns false, it means that the list is empty. So if this one is true, then we go to the if body and start iterating through the list. If is empty, then we have this statement. This statement will be printed. So you see, this if has this else. So under the body of the if, we have this, and this also has this as part of the body for this follow, and this is not part of the follow. I'm sorry for the interruption. So you understand, this is part of this. This print add-in is part of this follow, and this one is all of this part. It's part of this if, and this is part of the else part of this if. So that's about this code. So the output, are you sure you want a plain fixer? Will be printed because the list is empty. So if the list is empty, this will be printed. So if the list is not empty, assuming that we have something inside, like okay, so look at adding because the list is now not empty. So this is true. So using multiple lists, so you can use multiple lists at a time. So you have this list, have another list here, then you can have this. So this 4 in this, so requested toppings in requested toppings. So under it, we have this. Under the body of this folder, we have this if. So the body of if is also this one. So we have multiple conditions here. So we have this. this is in this, then we print this statement else. So this else is part of this if, then if this condition is not true, then this else part will be printed. And this print statement finished making your picture will be printed regardless of all of this. So this one will just be printed. So when we run this is what we have. So this is the summary. So this is what we did. The summary, we learn to write conditional tests that evaluates the true or false. We say that conditional test always evaluates the true or false. Then we practice a simple if statement. We want to practice if else. Then we have if elif else change. So we change different conditions using elif. Then we have number of conditions. Then we learn conditional structure to identify and test specific conditions in the program. Then we learn how to handle specific items in a list differently while maintaining efficiency of a for loop. Then we revise Python style recommendation where we use that brackets so that we can beautify our code to make it more readable and understandable as well. So thank you for listening. So if you have questions, you can ask. I can see Abdul Jalal wants to ask question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, can I go? Can I answer?
Yes, go ahead and
Can I ask my question?
ask your question. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sir. My question is regarded to my VS Code, sir. It is showing me before it is showing me that my kernel I have to reinstall my kernel. That is my environment. So and today it's just showing me that the kernel is dead. So how can I do
Install
it?
kernel
How
or
can
restart your kernel.
I have done that, sir.
Install kernel or restart.
I have restart and I have reinstalled all dots. Even I have changed another one, but up to now the problem persists, sir.
So I think what you just need to do, have you created a Conda environment for your, because sometimes you can have, when you have complex, you can create an environment for your code. It's better to do that because you install, when you have conflicting issues with your Python code, it can happen. And maybe the advice I will give you is maybe you can try updating your VS Code. You can go to help and update it to the latest version. Maybe you can have a solution. So if you don't have that solution, maybe you can copy the error and post it to Google. Maybe you can the answer for that. Yes. Any other questions? Add. Wa alaikum salam.
Sir, my question is in the last sprint, there is this /n that you used to add. What's the essence of adding it, or is just a code that needs to be there?
No, /n means new line. Like Shamsuddin took you there. Let's have this. When we have print here like this,
yes.
When I have this, when I have this, maybe let's say I want to print A, then I want to print B, the next line, I will do this. If I want to print B, I'll just put this. And again, if I want to print maybe D in the next two lines, so instead of one line, I will just print this. If I need another one, the next line, so This means print extra line, 3
Okay.
extra lines before printing my C. Like this. If I write like this, it means print A, then go to the next line and print B, then go to the next 3 lines and print C. So when I run this, this is what I have, you see.
Yes, I understand.
I have this A, then go to the next line and print B, then go to the next 3 lines and print C.
Okay.
So that's the meaning of this.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. I raise my hand.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Regarding the, let me call him, sir. Regarding the person that just asked you about the IFUI kernel, I have the same issue with him. Maybe if I'm allowed to tell him how I troubleshooting my own
Okay,
issue.
yeah, okay, yes, you can tell him.
Yes, sir.
So let us stop the recording.
Yes,
so we can
it's
discuss.
just like
yeah?
it's just virus that just enter and destroy the IFUI kernel. So, but my system I installed both Anaconda and Miniconda. So the IFUI kernel for the Anaconda is dead. They will ask you to install. When you install, it will still reappear. So one troubleshooting is for you to go to Windows
Yes.
Security, put that real-time protection off. Then he will come and run. It will work.
Okay.
Or he should install
so
Miniconda so that he will be selecting Miniconda IFUI kernel instead of the other one that has been destroyed by the
instead of
virus.
choosing the base, okay,
The
okay,
Miniconda, yes, sir.
so that's good.
When you put the real-time protection off and he install Miniconda, it's going to work. Because with this issue, I have to change the laptop. Later, I realized that it's not the solution. So even the laptop that has
that's good.
I'm still working with it, and the other one is also working. Even now I'm using the laptop that has that issue with Miniconda as IFUI.
Okay. Yes, that's good. Thank you for your solution. So I think
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I was raising my hand since before. So
okay.
Mine is 2 questions. Number 1 is with regards to the assignment. I need more clarity with regards to assignment because previously Doctor has already mentioned we are going to create a folder, and he even guided us on the format comparing with the Python 30 days. But later we were asked to use the Python 30 days. So unfortunately, I don't know, are we going to create folder in each section that we completed? Or are we going to use the folder that we are asked to use before? That's my first question. Then my second question is with regards to the BS code. So
okay, let's stop the recording, I think, because it's not part of the
okay.
let's
Okay, then my second question is regarding the let's respond to my first question, then I will ask the second one.
Yes, you say your first question is
okay.